this video, I'll show you how to create employee expense report. Employee expense report is used to register the business expenses of the employees for which advances was issued and spent, or register the expenses which will be reimbursed by the company. To access the employee expense report document, go to Money module, choose Employee Expense Report from the Cash documents. Once the document opens, you will find the list of employee expense documents. To manually create a new document of the employee expense report type, click the Create button on the toolbar. Once the form opens, this tab provides general information on employee expense report, an employee reporting the business expense or requesting a refund of such expense, the entity for which the employee works, the date of report. Let's fill the main tab, choose the entity, choose the employee of the entity and the date of report. The basis field is auto-populated if this expense report was created on the basis of a document of a following type, that is bank payment, cash payment, check issued, and goods receipt note. If needed, you can manually select the basis document by using the option Select. Once the details are filled, move on to the Advance tab. This tab provides a list of advances issued to the employee, if any, to cover the business expenses. For each advance, you can specify the amount spent by the employee for the listed expense. If an advance has been paid to the employee, in the amount column, you can enter the value that is equal to the amount of all inventory, expenses, and payment to suppliers. If the advance amount is greater than the spend amount, enter the spend amount here. Then you can inform the employee that he or she should return the unused amount of the advance. Depending on the way of the employee returns the unused fund, you will need to create a cash receipt, bank receipt, or check receipt with the return of the prepaid business expense transaction type. If there were no advances, that is, when the employee is not paid in advance, leave the table empty and post this report. Then based on this expense report, you can generate a payment using the generate option and make a payment of bank payment, cash payment, or check issued to the employee to reimburse the employee with the amount of the business expenses incurred by him. In case the open amount of the advance is less than the spend amount, enter the advance amount in the amount column and either add another advance to cover the difference or post the expense report and create a payment to the employee to reimburse the employee with the difference. To fill this tab with an existing document, I'll use the option Pick and choose the relevant document. Once the advance paid tab is filled, you will need to enter the data in the Inventory, Expenses, and Payment to Supplier tabs. The first tab, Inventory tab, includes the list of the items that were purchased by the employee for the company, and it can be done particularly for a customer order or a project. The Expense tab provides a list of the expenses the employee paid for, and this tab, Payment to Suppliers, contains the list of the payments made to the supplier by the employee on behalf of a company. I shall create an example for each of the tabs. For the inventory, add an item, its quantity, price, and all the relevant fields as per requirement. Once done, do the similar process for the expenses tab. Quantity, price, and all the mandatory fields and the required fields should be filled. For the payments to supplier tab, add the details of the transaction done by the employee on behalf of the company to the suppliers. Like, a payment can be made based on the documents of invoice received or expense document, or an advance has been paid to the supplier for a future transaction. Click on Add option, choose the company, choose the contract, enable the option Advance if it is not linked to any document, or use the field document and choose the relevant document. Once done, add the amount of settlement for this transaction. Check for the mandatory fields and fill all the required fields. Once done, check the tabs to ensure all the data has been entered correctly. In the bottom, you can see the paid amount is less than the spent amount. Post the document with the provided information, and for the excess amount spent by the employee, you can generate the payment using the option Generate. You can use the hyperlink available at the top to know the balance of the employee business expenses. For our example, 200 was excess, therefore it will appear as a balance to be paid. Also, you can see the overview of the employee expense report to know the details about the payment. That's how you can create an employee expense report. Thanks for watching the video.